convince them. So tell us all about your story, how you got started.
Well, when I was 6, I've always been very outgoing. So when I was 6, I wanted to be anything we were learning in class. So one week we were learning about astronauts, so I was like, I'm going to be an astronaut. Next week, I think it was around the time of Obama's election and all that, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be the first female president. Yes. And I told my mom, I said, that's me. So she came home, she's like, okay. I came home, I'm sorry. I came home from school with like this petition, and all these kids in my class had signs saying that they were gonna vote for me when I was older. And she was like, you already started your campaign? I was like, yeah, and I'm writing a letter to Obama. So anything I said I was doing, I took very seriously. So like 2 weeks later, I said, I want to be an actress. And my mom just kind of laughed it off, thinking it was just another phase. But I stuck with it for a really long time. And I would beg her, and we're from the desert, the Coachella Valley. So she was like, LA? Whoa, like we're not going there. So a couple years later, she got me a monologue book just to shut me up, like, here, play with this. And we got out of the car, I think we were going to like my brother's baseball game. And I started crying. She was like, Jenna, what's wrong? And I was talking about how my mom had cancer and she was dying and I didn't know I was going to live without her. And she said, what are you talking about? I'm right here. And I said, don't you understand? That's from the monologue book you gave me. So she posted a video on her Facebook as a joke, like, oh, look at my little drama queen. And one of her old high school friends was best friends with the casting director. And the casting director saw that video and they got me a meeting with my first agency. So that's how I started.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, social media, baby.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that too. But for you, you went like right into it. And you didn't go to acting school or anything. I mean, you've been working straight on since then, right?
Yeah, I've never taken a class. The first year, I was told that I had to prove myself because I wasn't from the area and didn't know what I was doing. So they told me that I could only do commercials. So I did like maybe over 10 national commercials, and then I said, okay, can I move on to theatrical now? Like, can I do movies and shows? And then it just kind of went from there. I've always been very on top of my career and always looking for the next job and things like that.
Can you talk about, though, you mentioned, I mean, there is a cautionary tale, and for any of you who have kids or, you know, who want to act, is you did mention that there was almost like a kind of a scam thing that happened. Can you, just to educate everybody so they don't do that?
Yeah, so before I was discovered on Facebook, we went to one of those, you know how you hear on the radio where it's like, oh, do you want to be a Disney or Nick star? Come here. And me, being little and thinking, yeah, I do want to be a Disney Nick star, I told my mom, this is what we're going to do. So I went there, I got a manager who never answered the phone. They just left us, I can't say I read it because it was over the phone, but they just didn't pick up, and it was like a fake number, and we spent all this money, and it was the worst. One of the worst experiences of my life. I was so upset, and I think that's when my mom saw how badly I wanted to do it. She saw my passion, and that's when she started to take me more seriously. But don't fall for those things. Please do not. And it's so sad because people have called me like, hey, will you come promote for us? Or they'll use my photo like, hey, do you want to be on shows like Stuck in the Middle? So anytime I see stuff like that, I'll always put it on my pages like, do not follow this, do not listen to this, it's absolutely fake.
And you heard it right here. So Kate.